Welcome to the first Madden 17 version of the Grid Lockdown podcast. The show is officially under new management as I, TFA Warner, will assume full hosting responsibilities this season. For those of you who don't know me, I was a member of the MBL from Madden 15 through Madden 16 before taking a few months off from Madden before the beginning of Madden 17. I'm now working my way back up the ladder in hopes of becoming a member of the MBL once again. A little bit about myself, for those of you who don't know me. I'm currently a senior at Wichita State University, where I will be getting my bachelor's degree in criminal justice here in December. In my free time, I'm an avid bowler and video gamer. I was born and raised in Massachusetts before moving out here to Kansas for college, where I currently live. I'm a die-hard Boston sports fan with the exception of baseball, where my loyalties lie right across the state lines with the New York Yankees. That's enough about me this week. I want to jump in and discuss what this podcast is going to be all about moving forward. As we all know, right now, Daddy Leagues is currently working with EA to get their site back up and running this Madden season. But as we wait for that, scores and stats are going to be a bit harder for everybody to track. During these first few podcasts, I'm going to heavily focus on scores, stats, and games from around the league in order to keep the league as up to date as possible. As the only Grid podcast, I'm also going to make sure I keep everyone up to date with everything that will be going on from now on, whether it be promotions, rule additions, and so much more. Here for the first podcast as we kick off the first Madden 17 season of the Grid, I want to start off by running over a few things that I think everyone needs to be aware of. We have a lot of new guys here joining the league. These last couple days have been pretty busy. We've had a lot of turnover. So I want to make sure everyone knows exactly what will be expected of them as the season continues, and just go over a few rules and refreshers just to clear up any questions that owners may have. The first major issue I've been seeing that I want to address is the team management issues. I've seen a lot of you guys adding players, cutting players who've had a lot of issues with that. I just want everybody to know the first thing to remember is that 74 is the magic number. 74 is the overall limit of players who can be released during the regular season, and it is also a limit when it comes to trading. You may never trade for any player who is above a 74 overall, and then during the regular season, you're never going to be able to cut any player that is over a 74 overall. This is to prevent collusion among teams. Once the season ends and we reach the offseason, that is when you can release these older guys, cut ties with these players with that overall 74 rating threshold, maybe clear some cap and get some of these older guys out of there. Admins in the league are definitely going to be monitoring transactions and rosters throughout the season. Every owner is expected to have read the rules so that you guys all know what's expected of you. This is a created owner league only, so please keep that in mind if you are a new member coming into the Grid. Created owners only. Positional changes, that's another big issue that we've been having. These have to be submitted for review by an admin. This prevents any owners from switching their players to different positions that they aren't originally supposed to play. They're in their positions for a reason. If we see a reason that they can actually change and you submit a request, we'll go ahead and approve that. But if we don't believe that player should be anywhere else on the field other than their original position, which is most likely going to be the case, they're going to have to stay there. If you have a player that you really think needs to be switched, go ahead and submit a request and see if it gets approved. Don't ever switch anything before getting something approved by the admin. These are some of the major questions and issues that people have been having so far. Again, I really can't stress it enough. Read the rules multiple times. Whenever you have any questions, just double check, make sure what you're doing is within the rules. For all new owners, please ask questions. It's a lot easier to ask a question than it is to do something, make a silly violation and then end up not being in the league anymore or being disciplined and having players suspended. So just ask questions. There's a lot of people here that are veterans. They've been up in the MBL or they've been in the Grid for a while. They can answer all your questions. There's a lot of people here that knows what is to be expected of them. So we're all really, really happy to be here. It's going to be a great season. Being the first podcast of the season, there aren't really any stats to talk about yet. So that portion of the podcast is going to kick off next week as we get a few games under our belts. Just a reminder, the league advances to Week 2 on Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, so please make sure you're getting a hold of your opponent and scheduling your games in a timely manner. It really shouldn't be that hard to get a hold of anyone. If you're having any issues getting a hold of anyone, please contact an admin. Beckley's really busy right now. He's trying to get users for missing teams. He's focused on getting us a 22, or 32, solid owners. We just want to make sure that you use the other admins to your advantage for right now. Allow him to do his job. There's plenty of people in here, like I said, that can answer questions, help you guys out. I'm so excited to be back in the recording seat in order to help produce some NBL quality podcasts here in the grid. I'm hoping to show you guys everything that the NBL is about in terms of a podcast. I can't wait to talk about the season. Can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be a really great year. This is a great community to be a part of. Activity and contributions are a real key component to getting that prestigious call up to the NBL. That's where everybody wants to make it. That's the ultimate goal of all the owners here in the developmental league of the NBL, the grid. So just remember that each day, be active in the chat, talk to guys, ask questions, play your games on time, and you'll slowly start working your way up that ladder and hopefully get the call up into the NBL. Like I said, I'm really excited to bring you guys great content this year regarding everything and anything on the grid. Let's start the season off with a bang, get your games played. This is a little bit of a shorter podcast than we're normally going to have, but without the scores, stats, anything like that, there's a little bit less to talk about. So I'm glad that I went over, some of the basic rules. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Feel free to let the admins know or anybody that's been in here because we're definitely happy to help you guys out. Let's get going. This is going to be TFA Warner signing off for the first Madden 17 Lockdown podcast. See you guys next week.